Stage 11 is day 12 of the Tour, of course, and you never quite know what's going to happen the day after a rest day. What's been laid on by way of temptation is a rolling course that's made for a breakaway to succeed. There are green jersey points available relatively early, with the intermediate sprint at 89 kilometres before any real climbing starts, and it wouldn't be a surprise to see Peter Sagan taking the maximum as part of the break. The four small climbs on the route, starting with the Côte de Rogna, are all in the last third of the stage, so there are cheap King of the Mountains points on offer too. But if the climbs aren't too taxing, then the descents are very tricky. There's actually an unclassified climb on what's supposed to be the final descent, before the road finally flattens and widens in Oyonnax. It's what happens before it does that could well decide this stage, though. Chris Boardman's
comes to his turn to do the pacemaking. He's never scared of working at all. I feel a bit sorry for poor old Alessandro De Marchi on the back there for Cannondale. He's done as much as he can. He's worked his heart out now for Peter Sagan. So if Peter Sagan wants to win, he now has to assume the responsibility of the chase all on his own, and because he is so fast, he won't get too many mates in this group. But look at him, he's taking advantage of the descent to ride away from the peloton.
This is Sagan's great skill, is going downhill. Remember, on the early stage of the race, he rode away from the riders on his own when he was chasing points. They didn't have his descending skills, and that road looks as though it's a little bit damp, but I don't think it is. I think it's melting tar on this occasion.
Well, we've got an official gap of 10 seconds coming over race radio. 10 seconds is around about 150 metres. Now, all of a sudden, the main field getting into the slipstream of Peter Sagan. He's going to take advantage of all of these little... Oh, they've gone round that corner. Use every piece of tarmac that there is to keep the speed as high. We're looking here, Phil, at speeds of around about 45 to 50 miles an hour. Well, let's not forget there is a lone leader, the man who wore the yellow jersey on the eve, or he took the yellow jersey on the eve of Bastille Day. He lost it to the summit of the Planche de Belleville, and he too is using every little bit of road. Pulls himself over as far as he can to the right-hand side, cuts the apex of the corner nice and tight, keeping his speed high as possible.
Well, that's Tony Galopin, who is still showing a 10-second advantage and has been all the way down at this descent. Will continue to descend with a couple of little false flats all the way down to the finish. The last 2 kilometres are on flat roads, and this is a demonstration here by Tony Galopin. He suffered and fought to keep his yellow jersey to La Planche the other day. It wasn't to be, and now he's slipped down the overall into 5th place. And Nibali will keep an eye on his progress, but he's not going to get 3 minutes on the field today.
No, that's not what he's looking for. He's looking for a bit of individual glory. He wants a stage victory. When he took the yellow jersey the other day, his dad came to visit the race, and when he saw his son being presented with the yellow jersey on the finishing line, big old Joël Galopin, who I actually raced with back in the 1980s, Phil, it brought a little bit of a tear to his eye. Now, I wonder what he's going to do if his son gets a stage victory the day after the rest day. Look at these guys. They are taking all kinds of risks coming down these corners now. They know that we're coming down to the possibility of a stage victory at the end of the day.
Well, while we're watching these pictures, Nicholas Roach has been awarded the most combative rider of the day, or the most aggressive rider of the day, which I think is well deserved. And now it's another man going for gold here in Tony Galopin. 8 seconds officially. They're using the whole road. This is a very, very quick descent. It would have been treacherous in the wet, but it's dry. Jonas Aguirre down there as well. Everybody's throwing everything in. Nibali always in a good position, making sure he can see what's going on, but not keeping up with the riders because he doesn't want to lock onto the wheels. It's a very dangerous, fast descent. They've just gone under 5 kilometres to go. They can virtually see Galopin, and unfortunately, it runs onto a very flat road for the last 1.75 kilometres, and that could be the bad sign for Galopin, because Sagan will... Oh, well, they're nearly on him now.
Well, they are nearly right onto his wheel, and a lot of that pacemaking was done by Mickey Rogers there in the fluorescent yellow. They're now up to the leader, 4 riders, but the yellow jersey group of Vincenzo Nibali is not very far behind. In this group is Alejandro Valverde, who's starting to look like a very, very serious contender, and Romain Bardet, the Frenchman, who is the leader of the Best Young Rider competition.
Well, this has put Sagan in a difficult position now. He's joined the leaders. What should he do? Push for home and maybe blunt his sprint, which he's done earlier in this race. or should he allow them back on and use his sprint?
Well, a flick of the elbow there from Kwiatkowski, the rider in the black and white jersey. Omega Pharma Quickstep, come on, let's keep working together. We can stay off the front of this group. They've just spread across the road. Let's not forget, Phil, none of those riders are really important in the whole look of the picture. Although Kwiatkowski is at 4.5 minutes down in 13th place, he's not going to pull back huge chunks of time at a moment like this.
This is the group that they've left. There doesn't seem to be the same drive in that group now with the yellow jersey. He's not overly worried about these four. There's the gap as they come down to 3.5 kilometres to go. Michael Rogers, the Australian who comes from Canada, like other riders like Nicholas Noach, have lost their leader in Alberto Contador, and they quickly said, now we ride for daily stage wins in the Tour. They've tried very hard to get one today.
Just spotted TJ Van Garderen is in this group, so he'll be quite happy. He was just at the back there, so he may well have taken a few risks on the descent. That will keep him high up in the overall standings tonight. He started the day in 7th place. 3
kilometres to go. Mikhail Kwiatkowski, who was putting a serious bid to lead the Tour and failed in the Vosges, now trying to win the stage here at a first-time finish in Oyonnax. He's the rider on the front. No, he's not anymore, because Tony Galopin, at 2.7 kilometres to go, somehow has attacked again.
He has attacked again, but clawing his way back to the wheel of Tony Galopin is the man in the green, and that, of course, is Peter Sagan. There is the next group on the road there. You've got BMC all over the front end of this group trying to pull it back together. Tony Galopin has got the gap.
It's unbelievable, this, because in the background, I don't think the field will get onto this. The pace is flat out. They're hitting speeds of 50 miles an hour. They're running off now towards the 2 kilometre marker. Soon after that marker, they make a sharp left, and it's dead straight and dead flat up to the finishing line. And Tony Galopin, I've never seen this boy have a season like this.
Well, last year, Phil, I think it was the bit of the coming of age when he won the San Sebastian Classic, but he comes from a huge family of cycling. His dad was a professional cyclist in the 1970s and 80s. His uncle is a team manager. He is riding on the crest of a wave. Look at all these little corners here. He's going around these corners as if they're straight. He's not even slowing down at all. He now has about 5 seconds over the 3 chasers and 10 seconds back to the Nibali group.
There are no more corners. That was the left turn to bring him up to the last kilometre, and the finish itself now. He has found incredible strength to ride away from Kwiatkowski and Sagan and Michael Rogers, and I don't think there's very much they can do about it. We're now looking for the 1 kilometre banner, and that is going to start everybody twitching.
Well, he has a quick look over his shoulder just to judge what is going on. He's got to pull himself inside out now. He's got to bury himself in these final few meters. He now knows, he's looked back and he can see that these guys, they've lost their impetus. It's going to go to Galopin and to France the day after the rest day.
What a determined piece of cycling this has been. He was caught, he tried an attack, he was brought back, he went again, and he's ridden clear. And they're right behind him now, but he's living every moment of this. This has been an incredible Tour de France for France as well, because Tony Galopin, as they line up to sprint behind him, are not going to catch him. He's just checked out where they are. He's going to have time now for a two-handed salute here as they start to close in. He will make the finishing line. He can see it. This is a perfect finish for a sprinter, but it won't be the sprinters who win. It will be the opportunist, the strong man from France, who has had an unbelievable 3 days in the Tour. 350 metres, the sprint is on behind him. 300 metres, they are closing in. They will be desperately close, but I think he knows now this is the stage for him as Tony Galopin comes up to the line. 1 day in yellow, loses it on the eve of the rest day, and now he gets a stage win, his first ever in a Tour de France, as the peloton come over the line in the same time as Tony Galopin. He gets the stage win, and that is France's second stage win of the Tour so far. So as they just take a look at this again now, he just checked out wisely. That's Greg Van Avermaet on the far right, John Degenkolb in the white crash helmet coming up behind him, but they timed it all too late. Tony Galopin continues to live a dream in his 4th Tour de France.
No measurable time gap between Tony Galopin and the closing bunch in the end, not that he could have cared less. John Degenkolb won the sprint of the fractionally late arrivals from Matteo Trentin and Daniele Banati. Peter Sagan was too disgusted to join in. He was 9th, The yellow jersey group was 34 strong and all the contenders were in it, losing no time. Simon Yates had spent himself for a Simon Gerrans win that didn't materialise and finished 10 minutes down. So 2 trips to the podium in the space of 4 days, one for the yellow jersey, one for the stage win. And he probably wouldn't have got the second without the surge of confidence that came with the first.
It's unbelievable. I don't know what can I say. Two days ago I was in yellow. That was one of the best days in my life, and the day after I lost it. I suffering like hell, and then after the rest day I say, okay, now is a new start. We'll see. And yeah, today was unbelievable. The last hour, the legs was super, and okay, I did, why not? I try.
Now, Vincenzo Nibali almost padded his lead by a few seconds today through some smart positioning and sound descending. The gap closed in the end, but he's looking good on all terrain. So, no change at the top. The only other one we might have seen would have been Galopin gaining a few seconds on Romain Bardet had he raced to the line rather than celebrating before it. Peter Sagan extended his lead in the green jersey competition slightly, but it's beginning to look as though he's too good to win a stage.
Peter, a really difficult day, another difficult finish for you. Could you have done the finish differently, do you think, tactically?
No, I think because this is cycling. I think, you know, everybody it's working for not come to the finish with me, and then I think I've been in good position on the front with Kwiatkowski, Rogers, Galopin. It's very strong riders. But nobody don't want works with me because after for days very hard, beat me. And then this is cycling, yeah.
It is cycling. Do you think maybe Galopin surprised you? Did you expect him to attack there?
I can take also Galopin because I feel good, but after attack maybe Rogers, after Kwiatkowski, I don't know. I can't take everybody, no.
Now, long after Sagan and everyone else had been up to get their jerseys on the podium, Andrew Talansky rolled in. 32 minutes and 5 seconds down, plus a 20-second time penalty for good measure, presumably for holding onto a team car, we're not sure. He was inside the time limit, but clearly in some pain as he had been all day. What we didn't know was whether he'd been riding on in the face of a team imploring him to stop, or, as looked more likely from the pictures, his team had been urging him to keep going when he was ready to pack it in. Certainly that seemed to be the case when he stopped and got off the bike, effectively abandoning the race before remounting after a conversation, or possibly a lecture on masculinity, from the formidable ex-sprinter Robbie Hunter, who was one of 2 Garmin team directors on the race. Let's start with Talansky's own version.
Just for my teammates, for my team, and the support that they've put into this tour for me, I didn't just want to stop and go home that way after everything they've done for me.
How much pain are you in?
A lot.
Okay.
And what went through your mind? He got off because I suppose it's the result of the crashes that he had a couple of days ago. He's hurt his back. When he's on the bike, he pushes the pedals, it hurts. So, he got to a point today where he couldn't stay in the peloton. It's not the kind of thing that, he's often used to, riding at the back alone, and, he's riding with a situation that hurts him and it hurts his back. So he thought it was possibly maybe time to stop the tour, and I think he sat down, got the emotion out of it and that kind of thing, and like I said, thought about it for a couple of seconds and decided to try and continue to get to the finish. And then I think that's what counts, because now we can sit down tonight and make a proper